This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for the Viagra Diaries with Barbara Rose Brooker. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you, Karen. I'm thrilled to be here.
So, what are we going to talk about today? Every week, we sit around and we talk about the Viagra Diaries, but you have something special for us today.
Yes, I do. And actually, the Viagra Diaries embraces my platform of ageism, though I hate the term. Today, because of the world famous medium, Lisa Williams, which I'm so thrilled to have a chance to converse with, and Susie Unger, who happens to be my daughter, the luckiest thing in my whole entire life, and Karen Hale, the fabulous Karen Moss Hale, who makes us all fabulous. So what I'd like to talk about today for Lisa is I'm exhausted from the theme of ageism, which to me has become a talk show, soundbite, bestseller, exploitation, billion-dollar business. I would really like to talk about afterlife. Is there age and ageism? I'm fascinated with that subject because we keep talking about age, and for God's sakes, it could be 1 minute or it could be 100 years, and what does it mean? But I want to know, does the soul age? Does the soul suffer ageism in the afterlife? Lisa, is that a stupid question?
Well, first of all, I just want to say it's a pleasure to be speaking to you. Absolute pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. But it's a really good question because so many people ask me what happens when we die, where do we go? And and actually, do we age? Because I have it where a lot of people have, they've lost children and they want to know, have they grown up in spirit? Or they've lost their old friends, and they're like, oh, do they have wrinkles like me? Or and they've lost their mom. And I'm like, listen, the soul is a soul. There's no age to the soul. It's just really our understandings, our lessons that we learn on the earth plane that makes us older. And of course our body ages. But I'm going to tell you right now, my grandfather hated getting old. Absolutely hated it, hated going bald, hated all of that. He always used to say, I'm 22 and I'm young at heart. And trust me, he would, wink at all the young girls as well in the same space. But he always comes through, whenever he comes through, as this younger man, as this younger vibe. And he comes through with hair. So remember, we haven't got the body per se in the spirit world. What we're doing is we're putting an image of what we used to look like to the medium, which is someone like myself. And so, you know what, you can come back looking however you want. I always say I'm going to come back looking 22 and fabulous.
Like you are. So in other words, what you're saying is there is no such thing. You know how they always say age is only a number. It's not a number. Yeah. It's who we are.
Yes.
At the time of our life. And it's what we're putting into this, I always say, container. I see it as like a big bubble that's expanding. And we put in it our maturation, our regrets, our hopes, our dreams, our development, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't age, that lives on. So in other words, we can be anything we want to be.
Of course we can, and this is a beautiful thing when we go to spirit, and this is what people who come for have readings, they say, but I remember my mom looking like this, and I remember her when she passed away, and she's frail, and she was really old, and she was, and she was just like a shadow of herself. I'm like, well, she's not like that now. She wants you to remember her being vibrant, dancing, fun. My grandmother, honestly, she was hilarious. She would drink gin and tonic while she was giving messages, because she was a medium too, and go and dance with everyone else's husband, and then go and play bingo. All right. That was her thing. That was her thing on a Saturday night, every regular time. And my grandmother, although she was frail, she never comes through that way. She comes through as this vivacious spirit. And like you say, age is relevant in today's society, because without age, we are not learning, we are not continually growing, we're not learning the lessons, we're not understanding life. And we actually can look back and we can go, listen, I've been where you're at. Let me be your education. Learn by my mistakes and let me be the education for you. Of course, you know, the millennials and my kids and everybody else don't listen. But in spirit, we always listen to spirit because like, we think that they have the magic. We think that they know it all. But really what they're doing is they're just coming with the knowledge that they have gained in this life, and they've just taken it over there.
So there really is no such thing as age.
Not really, no.
So why are we as a culture, and Susie is a therapist too, probably sees this a lot. Why do we make such a thing, a topic right now, a business right now, an industry right now, out of this thing called age? It's sickening to me when it's such a natural thing.
It is so, well, for me, it is a natural thing. And I just talk from my point of view, and Susie, you'll understand this because I used to live in LA, and that's how Susie and I met.
Mhm.
And I live, obviously I'm English. So, and then I moved to this tiny little place in Western New York where no one has ever heard of Botox, fillers. Let's do all of these things. No one's ever done that. Okay. There's a very small handful of people. And so when you talk about trying to keep young and beautiful and trying to, you know, put yourself out there, I went through menopause at the age of 32. I'm 46 now. And it was really important for me to understand how I'm going to age. So therefore I tried to stay young with, you know, with the menopause, and Suzanne Summers and all of those things. And it was really important. But people in those smaller environments like, well, why don't you grow old gracefully? I'm like, I am, but I choose, is my mindset. I'm choosing my outlook, and I'm choosing to stay young, and I'm choosing to keep young, but I still have a wrinkle or two. And so what?
And you know what? I don't see any, by the way.
Oh, I love you.
No, I don't. But that's even beside the point, because what I see and feel, intuit and hear is a very, very young girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting to me what you're saying is that the soul has no age, but it has all the wisdom you're going to put into it, and the mindset. And that is what goes to the next journey. So my question is, in the next journey, the soul, can it keep developing, or does it stay where it is?
No, it can absolutely keep developing, because if it doesn't keep developing, how are we going to learn our lessons? So let me give you an example. We are all brought into the world with probably one or two major lessons we have to learn. And I do this example with a lot of my students. And so basically, if we look back on maybe 5 major incidents that have happened in our life, and Susie will understand this. Major incidents, what is one key lesson or one key thread that has gone through those? And for me, all of my major lessons have come down to trust. And so my major lesson is trust throughout. So any form of situation that I get put into where, you know, I don't want to, I got to soul search, got to go to a therapist, got to do that stuff, is going to come down to trust, whether it's me trusting myself, whether it's me trusting a partner, a spouse, a person, trusting who I am, my own self-worth. It's all down to trust. And also forgiveness for me. That's my secondary lesson. And so in that time, my soul is constantly evolving. So then when I come back into this world, because I do believe in reincarnation, when we come back into this earthly life, it's like my soul understands the lesson of trust, but it's like, okay, so I've got to learn another lesson. And here's the interesting thing. Let's take it a little bit deeper into spirit guides. We all have spirit guides, people that help us. We all have people that we call on. Those people that we're calling on have learned a lot of those lessons. And they're going to be putting us into those situations, say, hey, listen, you got to go and learn forgiveness. I'm like, okay, I got to learn forgiveness. So why have I got to learn forgiveness? What is the purpose? Well, actually, someone's not going to actually say sorry to you. And I'm like, okay. So it's almost as though you kind of have to learn all these lessons. So therefore, when you come back again, you've learned the lesson. It's just a constant evolution of the soul.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. So I've known Lisa for about 15 years.
Yep.
20.
How did you two meet?
I was Lisa's agent, and I
She
met
was my agent.
and we bonded, and we've remained close friends. As I said, Lisa's the woman I can call at 2 a.m, 10 years later, and we pick off where we just left off.
Yeah.
But I've watched the evolution of Lisa's soul, and I think Lisa's watched the evolution of mine.
Yes.
And Lisa knows that I went through 8 months of treatment, that I almost died. I came very close to dying. And that I hate the word reinvent, because it's not a reinvention. I took what I already had and had learned and moved it forward into another evolution. But Lisa, I've watched you. You're a teacher now, and I know that you're very, very passionate about your school and about teaching others about what you're speaking of.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, what does a medium do for those that don't know, and the difference between a medium and a psychic, and how you've evolved into giving your gift, not keeping it sacred, but offering it to everyone who's interested?
So these are good questions. So a medium is someone who can communicate with the other side. Those people who have passed away, we have the ability, through using all of our senses, including our sixth sense of knowing, we are able to connect into, various different senses and images and things like that, and bring the story to everybody else and give it really a healing. Now, a psychic is someone that can actually give guidance in someone's life. You are not telling someone what to do, certainly in my book. All I'm doing is saying, these are your opportunities. These are your doors of opportunities, your windows of opportunities. You decide which one you're going to take. And because I always come at it that I'm carrying someone's life in the palm of my hands, and I have the potential to ruin someone's life like that. And I don't want to have that responsibility. So by giving them the windows of opportunity, they then choose based upon what their soul is calling them to do. And so as a psychic, I really can show them a much bigger picture, because, when someone's really in a dark space, or they're really struggling, or they've lost their job or relationship, they're really in that narrow-minded, I can't get out. And all I'm doing is opening it up and showing them possibilities, showing them the positive. And it's very important to actually lift someone. And I guess in my evolution, I had to go through a lot of things, and I'm always developing. Something recently happened where, I know I'm not going to get forgiveness, I know I'm not going to get an apology, but I'm learning forgiveness without that apology. And it's funny because throughout the time, throughout what we're going through right now, we're going through a pandemic. I've been writing these messages from spirit, and these are just like 60 messages. And
Here's
each one,
messages from spirit.
Yeah, well, it is. It's called Divine Wisdom.
Oh.
And I've already written one of the books. This is the second one. And it's such philosophy. And I guess I have changed because of that work, where I am much deeper in my work. And as I said to Suze a couple of weeks ago, is I feel like I finally know who I am. I had to go through a divorce. I had to go through various traumatic, awful relationships.
Yeah.
Susie, thank you so much for your love and support through those. But it was just, I had to go through so much, and being a single mom for almost 18 years, that really, really was so powerful. And I just evolved. But I believe that all of my evolution of things that went through to me, I had to go through, because I wouldn't be as good at doing my job now if I hadn't have gone through that, because I understand it. I'm a cancer survivor twice over. So when someone comes to me, hey, cancer, I know Hey, I've lost my job. I know. I was homeless. Okay, so you're losing your home. I get it. And so those are the things that we have to understand if we're going to be a good medium, because you got to understand life.
And there's a part of you that doesn't hold it in, you're sharing. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
tell us about your passion for having other people understand their gifts.
So, I trained as a teacher. I mean, I really should never teach children. I have 2 children and that's it. I don't want to deal with kids. I love kids, right? But I'm just not the teacher of children. But I am the teacher of adults, and I'm passionate about people finding their own purpose. I'm passionate about people finding their healing. I'm passionate about people understanding the connection to spirit. I'm passionate about that healing connection. I'm passionate about helping someone through the grief. And through my work, because I'm passionate with spirit, my work really has just evolved into teaching. And now I'm going to tell you honestly, my school is huge. I've got 34 master teachers who teach around the world. I've got thousands of certified students, and I'm at the helm of it, running it all with a team of 7 people. But it's amazing because we're reaching now globally through the likes of Zoom, that we're able to connect to people. And we're teaching everything from beginners mediumship to forensics, through to trance, through to all sorts. But it's incredible because people are now realizing they don't have to be in the closet. The society's changing. We are open to new ideas. It's okay to come out and say, by the way, I speak to dead people. And that's okay. Let's face facts. Hello. So it's really about empowering people to be who they are truly.
What's so interesting to me? I mean, I'm almost crying, and I never cry, never.
Aww.
Susie will tell you
Very
that.
true.
Yeah, like a stone, with this. But I feel like I'm almost crying from what Lisa is. I'm very moved by what you're saying because I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
So what you're also saying too is you're informed by your soul and by spirit. And it's almost like am I wrong? There's almost like 3 people there. You who are on the outside interpreting and giving, the soul that is growing and developing, and then the information from spirit.
Yeah.
And I think because our culture, which I call our cancer culture, I'm a cancer survivor too, our anti-age culture is so informed only by appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And age means appearance. And where are the souls? And so your work is so important. You're not just talking, you are feeling.
Yeah, that's what we do, and we're coming in from that space of feeling. And and again, it goes back to if we look at image, and Susie knows this, I used to be 75 pounds heavier.
Really?
I was a big girl, and so I understood that I was in Hollywood, that need to be a certain look, a certain way, have my chiseled and look in a certain vibe. But I didn't. I had the big butt, I had the big boobs, I had the spiky, awful hair. But it was just like,
your hair.
It was so funny. But I was trying to conform to look a certain way, and I was not. I got a curvy shape. I'm always going to have boobs and butt. That's the way it's going to be.
Lucky. And
exactly.
Hair.
I now have gorgeous hair.
Oh, I love the hair.
And I think what's interesting is that I was that image. I almost killed myself.
Yes.
That image. And Lisa and I, during that time, we never talked about those things. We never talked about this imaginary place we were trying to go to achieve, to be. And instead, everything was informed by the appearance, by the outside. And what you're saying about forgiveness, where everyone is hurting you all the time, and you don't even have the language to say, hey, that didn't feel good.
No.
What you just did really hurt my feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lise, your son is also, this is a question, is he also a medium?
He will absolutely point blank and tell you no.
Ah, okay.
And he will say to you that he doesn't believe, it's all a bit woo-woo, whatever. And my husband's the same way. And but he is incredible. My Charlie will sit and profile a person like that, be able to get somebody, nail every part of them.
Yes.
And he really has got a gift, but he won't use it. He's an incredible artist. He's very empathic, you know, and he will be able to sympathize and empathize with everybody in any situation. And he's so incredibly old for his age. He's 20, but he's so incredibly old for his age. I'm like, dude, who are you? Who are you? Because he's incredible. And now I also have a 17-year-old daughter, because I married her dad and her mum died. So I took on legal guardianship. And I look at the difference. And she's such a young 17, where Charlie's such an old soul. So for me, it's like, whoa, you know. And even he will say, Mom, this is how you have to parent her. And I'm like, don't you tell me how to parent my child.
You know, Lisa, you're bringing up something really important. And that is, once we talk about age, okay, you're talking about a 20-year-old who has an old soul. You're talking about a 17-year-old who has this young soul. It has nothing to do with the age. It's how they're developing.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that I really see in what Barbra has been trying to do. When I turned 55, I had a tumor in my ear and I lost my hearing. And so I had to start wearing hearing aids. And at the college I worked at, they looked at me like I was this old woman overnight because I was wearing hearing aids. And so I didn't tell people that I met after that I wore hearing aids. And all of a sudden I became this young person again, except in the workplace. And they finally pushed me out. But the day they pushed me out, I said, no one's ever going to do that again. Because it's not about my age. It's not about my hearing aids. It's not about a wrinkle or two. It's about what you want to accomplish in life. And, you know, that's where we all have to come from. And, you know, great that your son has this wisdom that he has. And your daughter will eventually get it. She's enjoying her life. You know?
Yeah. And I feel, and there's the added bonus, the added extra there is I feel as though it's also society, because I brought Charlie up in a very open society. I had umpteen girlfriends. I you know, I was a nightmare. I would party, and I won't say that he saw that, but he saw it in whatever he needed to see, you know, and he saw my relationships intertwine. He lived a very privileged life. He came from England, then he moved to LA, and he lived a privileged life. But then I pulled him into Western New York, and I made him realize that life wasn't about, hey, let me get a Ferrari for my 16th birthday, which is a true story. That's what he wanted. And so I pulled him from that, but I'd given him a very open outlook. And yet my daughter's mom, God rest her soul, she was living a closed outlook, because she very much wanted to protect her daughter from the things that she had gone through, things that she had seen. So when Kaylee came to me, she was like a deer in headlights, like, you mean I can go out and I can do this? And I'm like, yeah, come on, let's have some fun. Can we go shopping? Oh my God. And I'm like, yes, let's do it. So it was a very different outlook. And I also brought in the English society, where we were actually really close society. We hug like this, you know, we don't do any booby hugs or anything. My mom still hugs me like this, bless her. But I think because there was, again, it was a different society as well. And I came in with him of the please, the thank yous, I'm sorries. You know, it's the instilling. And then
Yes.
I saw the other side of it in her society where she wasn't pushed to do that. So, because her manners, when she came to me out, she was like, can I have, and I went, please. But there was the two different elements.
Sounds like Charlie had a head start. His soul had a head start.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
It also sounds like, maybe, am I wrong, that it came also from another life?
Maybe.
It had a head start already, and it's integrated. It's so interesting to me.
Speaking of that, Lise, I know this is a question that you probably are asked all the time. Do you see dead people? How does your life look when you walk down the street, when you're sitting here? Can you explain what you see, how you do, and is every medium different? Do they interpret, do they see differently?
So right now I'm seeing 4 beautiful women.
Aww.
Simple. You know, I don't see any spirits hanging around because I choose not to look that way.
Right.
So right now I'm engaged in having a communication and a conversation with the living. All right. And I'm being present. But if I decided to open myself up, then I would look and go, oh, hello, who are you?
Right.
And then I would bring someone in. But I choose, it's a choice. You know, Susan, when we did the TV show, it was like, come on, man on the street, who are you seeing? And I was like, oh my, that was one of the worst things for me. I just didn't like it. I mean, Susan was like, oh my God, that's fascinating. And I'm like, I really hate this. But it was fascinating to people. It really was. And, you know, I get it. But for me, I walk down the street because I tune it out. Okay. I tune it out and I don't want to, because it's also an invasion of someone's privacy or privacy, whatever you want to call it. Because if I am looking at someone and I'm looking at them going, oh my God, you know, they've just gone through this, or, oh God, this, you know, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want to, it's not my place.
Emotional too.
It is, it's not my place to bring that up. So from that point of view, I try not to, but every medium is different. Every medium gets their messages in a different way. No one gets them like me. People say to me, I want to be like you when I grow up. I'm like, well, they broke the mold, so good luck with that. Ain't gonna happen. But it's important for everyone to really hone their own gift in their own way. It's like a therapist, Susie, you talk to your clients in a totally different way to somebody else.
Yes, and I called Lisa a couple of weeks ago because I believe, for me, that I have that gift as well. And sometimes it gets in the way of the therapy. Well, I can know something or feel something before the client does.
Yeah.
So I actually called Lisa and said, what is the correlation between a therapist and a psychic, and how do I work with that?
Interesting.
And you can't.
And you can't.
You can't, because you're at risk of losing your license.
Right.
You can't mix the two. But you can say, you know, and this is where I said to you, it is really about, hey, listen, sometimes I'll get a feeling, a hit, whatever you want to say, but I'm going to share with you my hit. You choose how you're going to deal with it. And that's up to you. But you can't say, oh, I'm a psychic, I'm intuitive. Because you can't mix the two, but you really are. And social mom, you can't, the two can't mix. No. But you've also got that compassion, that understanding, that sensitivity, that kindness, because you are in that therapy role, which a lot of psychics and mediums have to really learn, because it doesn't come naturally for them. And I guess you guys have to, but yeah.
So interesting is, I call it the alternate universe, or universes, the Xerox, you know, of all. So the people on the other side, the souls on the other side, they must look at their mediums. They know where their mediums are, or they find their mediums, just like we find a good therapist, or a good, you know, So there is always the soul's need to have compassion as well. But I think
Yeah.
talk about forgiveness, but compassion is so.
It is so important. I will say to you that a lot of spirits will and a lot of people will kind of come to me and go, I don't know why I need to come and have a reading with you, or I don't know why your website came up, but I need to speak to you. And I remember, and it was so funny because I remember, I'll just tell a very quick story. I was in Australia, 6,000 people, and I was standing there on stage, and I said, I need to come to this lady. You've got his wallet. Yes. Can you look inside his wallet? Well, there's nothing in it. Just look inside it. There's nothing in it. He keeps telling me there was something in it. And she said, well, there was. Anyway, and I said, he keeps telling you that he sent you, he sent you, he sent you. And that's all I kept saying. He sent you, he sent you, he sent you. And she said, yeah. And I said, the name, whatever was in that wallet was really important. And it was like a little slit, and it was kind of back in, and you had to kind of dig around to get this thing. And apparently it was a little slip of paper that said, go see Lisa Williams.
I just got a chill.
It was like spirit just said, hey, yeah, I'm sending you that way. And she, out of 6,000 people, I mean, obviously I read for more people that night, but out of 6,000 people, she got the reading.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
So Lisa,
what do you believe in people? If people could just believe in themselves and their soul and people and connect, it would be such a different world, not only for the other side, but we could all integrate, and God knows what we could do, because the fate, there's this path, I call it the path of dreams. And even when you try to get off of it, it pulls you back on, and it would just be incredible, this planet. Maybe this virus is a warning sign, right, Lisa?
Well, you know what's funny is Spirit talks about this in what came through, and it talked about how it was a reset. You know, the world needed a reset, and it talks about how Spirit was coming together, and how everyone was. I'm just trying to see if I've got something. Here we go. It says, unite together as you open the hearts and manifest the future that is within reach for you all. So that's just one of the titles. And it's, oh, here it is. United forces are around you as we gather in the energy of you all. You're all part of the universal light that is held for you as you support the way forward in this time. Come together with the minds as you open yourself up to the healing and the love that you have witnessed over this time. And it is, Spirit has, I've got chills. I really feel as though this pandemic has happened because we needed a reset. The earth is healing. Let's look at all the things that have happened to the earth. Let's also look at all the things that it's triggered in us. It's made us go within. It's made us really soul search. And through this pandemic, things have been highlighted to us that maybe we might have missed if we just carried on in the busyness of the world. And we've had to face things. We've had to come together with compassion. We've had to come together with love. We've had to come together in kindness. Yeah. And everyone. And if you look about it, my husband is active duty army. And if we look at this everywhere around the globe, one of his best friends is in Saudi Arabia. Everywhere around the globe has stopped. There is no fighting, no terrorism, there's no nothing. We are all fighting this one pandemic together, and it's all uniting us in love. And if we can just continue that, obviously, you know, with a few little shops open here and there, and you know, and the hairdresser, please, the hairdresser, but but if we could just really unite in love, that really is gonna it will elevate us. It'll be so powerful because we're in this position of power right now.
Even the little animals. I mean, there's little raccoons walking around San Francisco so proudly. Yeah. You know, the animals are being let out of their little hiding places from the horrible planet and the people on it. Or the children who don't have a good start. You know, people can say, listening to this, they'll say, well, what about the child who was beaten and abused in Hungary at 3 years old. How is he going to develop? And then he turned to crime and went to prison. Those children with compassion and kindness and reaching out can be different children. Their souls could get a chance.
Yeah. And we're all being stripped back to the same right now, because we are all in the same. So all of us are stuck in a position. Some people are being, you know, are sort of like moving through it and coming out of it quicker than others, but we all got pushed back into the same. Yes. We're all told to be at home, to stay away, to not go out, to binge watch TV and trash TV and to learn online. And everybody's been given exactly the same opportunities right now. And it's whether or not you're going to see that as an opportunity or whether you're going to see it as a negative. And I have encouraged people, listen, if you didn't like your job, now's the time to learn a new skill and get yourself a new job. Now is the time to really recreate yourself. Now is the time to brand yourself. Now is the time to expand on your ideas. Now is the time to really, really be passionate and find your passion and live your passion and do something you have always wanted to do. Because I'm telling you, there's people out there who have been putting courses on for pretty much next to nothing. If you can't pay $30 to learn what you wanted to do, then you're obviously spending your money on other things, because you'll go and spend money on, you know, chocolates, cigarettes, alcohol, but you won't spend that $30 on what you want to do. What comes first? You and your own creation, or you and what you're going to put your energy in? Think about what you put your energy into.
Exactly. This is exactly true. And when I talk about ageism right now, those could say, well, that's a very minor thing in the largeness of this pandemic. Well, it's not, because the pandemic has exacerbated the ageism. I'm 83, and I know when I went to ER a few weeks ago in the middle of the pandemic, the way you're treated, not the healthcare workers, they were fabulous. I'm talking about general, attitude. And the thing is, that's why, thanks to Karen Moss Hale, my partner in this, we are giving the first virtual Age March in history. I've been doing Age March for 10 years, and I would get a few hundred people at a time, but I couldn't do it anymore because I just don't have the means to do it, but I did it. Karen came up with the idea. She said, well, let's make your Age March virtual and global. And so we've both been writing notes to my database all around the world, and Lisa, I hope that you will be in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be September 12th, and we're getting people to send their pictures, hold up their sign with their age on it, whether they're 20 or 90, and to tell their story of who they are. And, Susie's getting celebrity interest in this, like you. And I just, when I leave the planet, I said, okay, I've got all these books and everything, but for me, we all have our own purpose. I would love to see Age Pride be as integrated globally as Gay Pride.
Yeah.
I think it's very important where everyone blends. Whether you're 20 or 90, you can still be very young. Your soul can be young, like you were talking about. Because I don't want to age either the way they say you're supposed to age. Whether or not you want your Botox or whatever, that's all a personal choice. It really is. But it's not what the age is.
No, it's not. And it's interesting, because what I've noticed is those people who are coming into learning mediumship, they were a lot older. They were like, you know what, I'm going to do it when I retire and everything else. Now you're getting a lot more younger people. So it's so broad now. I can have in my classes a 20-year-old girl and like an 80-year-old guy or a woman or whoever. And I can have, and it's not just, I actually talk about gender neutral a lot, because the gender neutral, it's like I can get anyone in my class. I've got this one fabulous guy, And trust me, you know, he's a really fabulous guy, but he puts makeup on better than I do. And I'm pretty good at it.
Love it.
He is gorgeous. He's got his nails and he's incredible and a fabulous medium. But you know what? He stands up. He's like, this is who I am. I'm 20 odd but this is who I am. I feel old inside, but I don't care. I'm gorgeous. I'm handsome. I'm pretty. I'm beautiful. I'm sexy. And he is just like rocking that. Well, I've got to introduce you to this dude.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Have them.
Oh, I
absolutely.
love it. Susie, I know
love him.
you're dying to say something about the gender, right?
Well, I mean, of course, because, you know, I'm all about gender neutral and exploring who you are. What, and you know, I'm actually someone who, Lise, I love the labels. I know Barbara and I differ on that because I think the labels give people who would never not otherwise have a community, a place to go and a place to identify. And for me, life is about purpose and meaning and community. And what you're talking about is blending purpose, meaning, community, both on this planet and at this time and in the other evolutions of the soul and the world. So if you had sort of, Lise, 3 wishes for yourself, just for yourself, moving forward, what are they?
Who are you asking?
Lisa?
Oh, Lisa, yes.
I think my 3 wishes for myself personally.
Yes, personal.
I think my 3 wishes, one would to be, my relationship is really important to me. And I would say to maintain a very happy and communicative relationship, because it's very important to maintain that for me. No matter what issues are thrown our way, is that we remain equal. You know, we are individual and we come together. There's no codependency on us, trust me, none.
Good.
But we are very, to maintain a happy life. For me, it's to be always the best person I can be, my best authentic self, and to show up in my best way. And honestly, it's just, I think really is just to teach and live from the heart, live from the soul, live in an authentic way. And because as far as I'm concerned, that is important. And Suze, you've seen me go through various different relationships, but one thing you probably don't know is when I was 16, I wanted to be a boy.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, I researched the actual transition. And back when, you know, that was like in the actually it was late 80s that happened. That was something, they were doing it in Amsterdam, and I researched it. I mean, it was something that was, I didn't feel comfortable of being a girl. And so for me, it was really, really important to embrace who I was. And that's what I try to teach now, because it's about embracing who you are. Listen, I'm weird anyway. I speak to dead people. Come on, that's not weird in itself. But, you know, I've always embraced the weirdness. I always say to people, listen, join me in my circle of weirdness where I'm normal and so are you.
Right.
And that's all it is.
Weirdness is just.
That's it. So for sort of wrapping this up, for everyone out there that wants to find their inner gift, Lise, do they go to lisawilliams.com?
Yeah, lisawilliams.com or lisawilliamsschool.com. Just put in Lisa Williams Medium, you'll find me.
Say hello to you or send a note, just lisawilliams.com.
Yep, lisawilliams.com, and then they can see what I do. And I don't do so many readings now, but I do a lot of teaching. I do readings, but like my waiting list is crazy. But on there, I also have a directory of mediums that I recommend because they're certified by me, and a directory of teachers. So it's like a one-stop shop for all.
A one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
You said one thing that interests me too is finding, you know your authentic self. It's very obvious, but so many people don't. It took me about 80 years. It's only been a few years that I feel, wham, I put the 2 parts together and so forth, but I still struggle with it. So you found your authentic self earlier.
Yeah, and you know what, Barbara, it wasn't an easy journey. It really was. It wasn't an easy, because there's so much pressure on us in society to conform and be in that box.
Yes.
And there's so much pressure and judgment. And I remember coming out to my dad and saying to him, hey, by the way, I'm in a relationship with a woman. And I remember him saying to me, I just can't accept you. I can't speak to you right now. And it hurt me deeply.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is when it all went pear-shaped, as we say in the UK, he was the one that actually supported her the most. And he's like, and you know, so he really embraced it in the end. And again, he embraced my spirituality. But I always say that it's a very hard journey, and it takes a strong person to be to just come out with it. But it also takes a stronger person to process it without just coming out, and to kind of go through the motions and carefully navigate the waters, because then you're constantly tugging away at the head. When someone's just come out and say, hey, listen, by the way, I'm bisexual, or I'm gay, or I'm transgender, or I speak to dead people.
Yeah.
Lisa, I love what you're saying, because I believe in what I say to all my clients, and I work so much with the LGBTQIA plus community, is as an LGBT person, you're constantly having to come out.
Constantly.
I want to teach them to invite in.
Constantly.
You invite in you feel safe with.
Yeah.
You invite in after you've done your work, so that you feel a sense of safety and connection.
Yeah.
So I love what you're saying about
And
that.
it is about being safe, Suze. You're right. You have to feel safe. So that's why I say it takes a stronger person to sit and process. Let me deal with it. Boom, 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 boom. Because you're struggling with the two minds. And you're like, but what if society? But who I am? Boom, 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 boom. And it takes that strong. See, if you're, for me, I'm the type of person where, like, hey, listen, this is who I am. People look at me and go, you're so strong. I'm like, no, I'm just bold. Because the way I can cope is by being bold. I can't do it in any other way.
Well, you're naming fear. And
yeah.
fear, when you said forgiveness and trust, for me, my two ingredients were fear. That fear is what gets in the way, for me, of safety and trust and invitation in. Yeah. So I think and that goes for aging as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, what I want to say is you're fabulous.
And so are you, Barbara.
You're very evolved, and I would sit for hours and be mesmerized just to hear you talk about living life here and there. And I think you're just fabulous. And I just thank you so much for your words. I want to listen to this over and over again. And you will be in Age March.
Yes, I will. And you know what? I want to get let's put it out to all my followers as well. So let's make it happen.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you. Yes, you'll be hearing from Karen with her notes.
Yes, you will be. And it's September the 12th,
yes,
2020. And the first 100 that register are going to actually be on the screen that day.
Wow.
Having a chance to talk.
We have hundreds who have registered.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's been fabulous.
Always, Susie. Thank you so much. I feel like I'm in tears from this whole thing. Oh my God. And I put mascara on today too, because I don't know how to do the eyelashes.
You look beautiful, Barbara.
As always, thank you all so much for such an interesting and mesmerizing morning. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you all for putting it together. And Lisa, you will be hearing from me.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
You're gorgeous too. You said you were, but you really are. I can't picture you with the spiked hair.
Please don't. Please don't is all I'm going to say.
I love you all.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you again.
Bye.
Thank you.